Welcome friends to my YouTube channel CMA Whitetube and Knowledge. Me CMA Arijit Ghoshal will be taking you through the concepts of inventory valuation under Ind As 2. What are inventories? Inventories are assets which are held for sale in the ordinary course of business, in the process of production for such sale, and also in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in rendering of services. Say there is a manufacturing organization producing Surf Excel. Now Surf Excel will be their FG, which will be considered under inventories. Also, there will be raw materials required in producing those Surf Excel or FG. Those will also be considered under inventory valuation. Now, where are the items where inventory valuation in under Ind As 2 is applicable? We have a negative list. These below list of items will not get valued under Ind As 2. Number 1, we have the WIP arising under construction contracts, including directly related service contracts. Now, which are the standards dealing with it? The standard dealing with it is Ind As 11 under construction contracts. Secondly, we have financial instruments like derivatives, bonds. Now, Ind As 32, financial instruments and presentation deals with it. Coming to number 3, we have biological assets related to agricultural produce and agricultural produce at the time of harvest. Ind As 41, agriculture deals with such lines. What are the components of cost that are incurred in the valuation of inventories? Number 1, we have the purchase cost. Number 2, we have the conversion cost. Number 3, we have the cost incurred in bringing the inventory to their present location and condition. Purchase cost is inclusive of the duties and taxes along with the raw material cost, handling, transportation cost, and other costs involved in acquisition of goods. Trade discounts and rebates are deducted. Conversion cost, the overhead cost, the labor cost incurred in bringing the or in converting the raw material to their FG, we consider those to be overheads. Overheads are also further classified into fixed overhead and variable overhead. Fixed overhead are absorbed on the higher of the normal capacity or actual capacity utilization, whereas variable overhead is absorbed on the basis of actual usage of the production facilities or actual capacity. The reason behind this, since fixed overhead are absorbed on higher of the normal capacity or actual capacity, whenever there is an abnormal production beyond the normal capacity, the absorption per unit gets reduced. Mean to say that per unit FG cost or fixed overhead cost is reduced. And what are the costs incurred in bringing the inventory to their present location and condition? Say you have a factory and you have a storage depot from where goods are sold to the customer. From the factory to the storage depot, because from the factory you are not selling it to the customers, but the storage depot is the place where the position is required to sell it to the ultimate consumer. In that case, the transportation cost and the rent cost of the storage depot will be included in the cost of inventory. We have fair value versus net realizable value comparison. Why is it done? I'll let you know. Because under the Ind As concepts, Ind As 113 deals with fair valuation. Now, what is fair value and what is NRV? Fair value is market oriented or market price, whereas NRV is the estimated selling price less the estimated cost of completion less the estimated cost necessary to the market of the sale. Now, fair value can be or might not be equal to the NRV. Now, which are the costs that are included from inventory cost? Abnormal wastage of material, labor, and other production cost. Administrative overhead not required in bringing the inventory to their present location and condition. Selling cost. Storage cost unless those are required in bringing the inventory to their present location and condition. So all the administrative overheads, abnormal cost, and the storage cost which are not required in bringing the inventory to their present location and condition are not included in cost. Now, how you value an inventory. Inventory is value based on lower of the cost and net realizable value. The rationale behind this is that if you can sell a product in the market at 100 rupees, but the cost which is incurred in making the product is 120, how will you show in the product in the market? It will, the realization is only 100. So you have to value your stock in the P&L at rupees 100, that is lower of carrying cost and NRV. Valuation procedures of some inventories. One is the service provider. The valuation procedure we have discussed is for the goods. Now how you value a service? It includes the labor and cost of personnel engaged in providing service along with supervisor cost and attributable overhead directly linked to that service providing. What are the not inclusive parts? Sales and generally administrative overheads and the profit margins. In case of main product or byproduct, suppose a production line gives you a main product and a byproduct. The byproduct at the NRV will be deducted from the cost of the main product. An agricultural produce, it is fair value less cost to sell at the point of harvest. Valuation or revaluation of raw material vis-a-vis change in value of FG. Suppose we have an FG valuing rupees 500 in the market. The cost required, we have two situations. A cost which is higher than the selling price and a cost which is lower than the selling price. The situation where the cost is higher than the selling price, we have to realize the FG at NRV. But what will happen to the raw material in making those inventories? We have to value those raw material at the replacement cost basis or the NRV. But in case where the selling price is higher than the carrying amount, in that case, associated raw materials will not be written down below cost. Now some quick notes. Inventory is valued either through FIFO or LIFO method. My mistake. Inventory is valued either through first in first out or weighted average method. LIFO method. I repeat, LIFO method is not used under Companies Act in Indian accounting standards. It's a policy that is followed in cost accountancy. Inventory, which is an integral part of some other asset, will be recognized as an expense over the useful life of such asset. Means, suppose you have an inventory or some spare parts which are integral to the any plant and machinery. In that case, that spare parts will be considered or expensed off during the useful life of that main asset. Now, amount of any write down of any inventory to its net realizable value shall be recognized as an expense in the period the write down occurs. If, as the procedure is lower of cost or net realizable value, whenever NRV is lower than cost, we have to write down the cost to the NRV. Means there is a reduction in value of inventories. In that case, that cost or that has been reduced have to be expensed off in that period. Thank you. Please subscribe to my new YouTube channel